everyone, Ivy Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, I'm going to show you a bit of a damage test I did on the test server regarding Anai versus some other very similar mages.
The finest blood for the most untainted soul.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say very similar, but infernal mages that should be good for guild boss, right? So Anai is really interesting here. She has this chance of inflicting burning and does more damage to targets with burning. So she's all about that. But I wanted to do just a simple basic damage test that's kind of isolating these characters on their own and see how they do with the exact same gear. No gear sets, but the exact same gear and stats being moved around. So I do test Anai with compared to Nocturne and compared to the epic Imani. I did this test a few days ago, actually, guys. I think I did it on Thursday, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever it was. Maybe it was Wednesday. And I was debating about putting out the video because I don't know if my test is perfect. I'm not using her in a full guild boss comp to see how she performs with the synergies of everybody, or like with Twin Fiend or Pyros using their focus fire as well. Like, I'm not really doing that. I wanted to do it a little bit differently. I wanted to do it in the sense of, here is a character, here is another character, here's another character. All right, all things the same. How do they perform? How's their damage? How big are their hits? What are their total damage in a run? How many, like in a guild boss run? I think I used Nightmare 2 as the example, with just a simple healing and a Dolores boosting. But of course, Anai does have a automatic ultimate, so I can't time her the same way that I can time Imani and Nocturne. So keep that in mind. I really try to do my best to time those two very similar, but we start out a little weak and you're gonna think, oh god, she's terrible. But so the first test, well, you know what, I'm just gonna go through, I'm gonna play the tests, I'm gonna get rid of myself in the background and just talk through the tests, point out some of the damage numbers that we're seeing, and kind of explain why I changed some things that I changed. But I am going to do a test with and without a rage booster for Anai. Although, to be fair, you should always have one. But spoiler alert, when I add in a rage booster, so she's coming back to her ultimate a lot faster, yeah, she kind of outdamages everybody. So is she that bad? I don't think so. And I think I will kind of sum up before I show all the testing. I want to let you guys decide. I'm not 100% confident in the best way to test with these guys because they're different. Like I said, an auto ultimate versus one we time to go with like the spits and the shields, right? You can't really time that perfectly. But the numbers are the numbers, and you can see how hard people are hitting. And I really am I'm happy to see some fun results. If anything, I feel like I found out Anai is solid. Is she the best hero in the game? Probably not. But we also find out that Imani is like surprisingly close to damage for someone like Nocturne even. Like, I was quite surprised with Imani. So that was a good findings throughout this little mini test. But this is just one test at the end of the day. I go through a few different guild boss runs. There will be chapters below describing them. So yeah, I'm going to roll that footage now, and you guys can kind of make those decisions again based on your own opinion of the test, or all things considered the same. And here's the gear. The same gear is going to be moved around to everybody. So this actually gave her pretty a solid attack. We got 100% crit rate on everybody. This gave her 302% crit damage with only 21% rage boost. But there you go, plus 10,000 attack, and everyone is going to have the same level 10 tier of Twilight Artifact and max skills. So this is going to be our constant for our test. And now our first test is going to be with Imani, or sorry, with Anai, and Pyros is just going to be there for sake of the Lord bonus. Nothing else. He's not going to actually be used. Going in with our very first test here, you can see I'm going to place Dolores. We're going to place Vortex. We're going to place Anai. And simple as that. And then Pyros is just going to chill. But I want to let this sit here so you could see the actual damage procs. So here they go. You can definitely get an idea of her power. But her ultimate's a little bit different, remember. She kind of ramps up. So, okay, basic attack. These hits are like 40,000, right? Pretty good. All right, now there, boom. There's her ultimate. There's when she starts hitting. She hits a lot. She multi-hits. There's lots of little hits. So it's hard to really add up. I think it's hard to tell how many times she's doing that 12,000 damage. Then the effect from Dolores wears off, and now she's doing 9,000 damage a bunch. But now it's time for the spit, and we did not have good timing, right? We did not. So can we still get away with this? Let's find out. That we're not using her ultimate. We're just using her basic attack to get through the spit. But it's okay. We do manage to do that for the first one. And again, this test is on just Nightmare 2, to be clear. So there you go. When the boss is in the weakened state, she's doing a whole bunch of attacks. You saw like 126,000 randomly thrown in there. 131,000. 16,000 for the basics. 20,000 or so to start while she still had the boost from Dolores. And that is how we roll. We're going to continue this again. Same kind of idea, but again, we have no rage booster. So someone like her that's just coming to their ultimate frequently could definitely use a rage booster. So that is actually going to be our next test. The first test is without a rage booster because I wanted to test everybody with just a healer and Dolores and no extra rage boosting. But I ended up needing to test some people with a rage booster for sake of timings, or we didn't survive the boss's rotation. Like with Imani, you'll see. You see 73,000, 61,000 for some of those hits. But she's hitting more frequently, and especially when her ultimate hits, she is, she's kind of smashing differently. And this one is not timing Dolores with the spits perfectly. So that does affect the run, which I'm going to do another run right after this with Imani to show you guys a little bit different and a little bit more consistent with my timings, to where I'm going to make sure I at least save Dolores's ultimate for the shields and spit time frame. But here we go. I'm going to still let it play out so you guys can see the damages. That's what I want. You guys to see the damages. You see how fast she's popping her hits. You can see how much those hits are. You can add them up if you wish. However I want to let the viewer also kind of make their own decision about the hero and not just say that I think she's good or bad. But the numbers are the number, and this first test is not great. My timing with Dolores, I mean, I obviously can't make sure that she's always timing with Anai's ultimate, and Anai's not being boosted. So without Anai being boosted, with a little bit of rage regen, she's not coming to her ultimate as often as she could. So there's much better potential for our next run. This is our weakest run, at least, so you kind of get a low-end standpoint. But it's fun to see. So all those pops are like 12,000 when she's boosted by Dolores. And then boom, 40,000 for those others. All right. So this was a little bit of a disappointing start. We're going to go to the damage. And this was a disappointing start. So 13,400. Very disappointing start when you see the next ones. But the next one is the opposite. The next run is very impressive for Anai. Here we go, adding in a rage booster. We're adding in Elowen now. So Elowen's just going to constantly rage boost, and that's going to be really great for helping her to come to her ultimate more often. So we're going to have all things considered the same. I'm probably going to pause and skip ahead in this part of the video once we get rolling. But I kind of just want to show how my timings were a little bit different with Dolores. When I test with Nocturne and Imani, I do decide to make sure I always pop Dolores with the boss's, you know, spit skill. And that's when I decide to pop with her too here. So at least the consistency can be Dolores. So yeah, boom, pop Dolores with destructive spit. And hey, guess what? Anai happened to be using her skills. And look at that. Lots of damage. You could really see it better. Popping it out. We're going 2 times speed. It's a little faster though. But you can certainly pause and see all of these individual hits. She's the only one doing real damage, or doing any damage. So you don't have to worry about that. Everything you're seeing is just her damage. And yeah, we're doing 2 times speed, so it's faster. Maybe I won't worry about skipping ahead because this is at 2 times speed. So she did her ultimate a lot more frequently now thanks to the rage boosting. But of course, it's not going to time perfectly with the spit. Like, she just finished the ultimate, but now, boom. All right, here we go. Some big hits there. Time Dolores, and the boss is in its weakened state. We're getting a whole bunch of pops. You can see there's 80,000, 70,000, some big pops thrown in there. But the good thing is, you can see the numbers are pretty consistent overall when certain things are happening, because I do have 100% crit rate. You know, it's a consistent number. It's not low. It's very consistent to make sure that it is going to be very similar for all the heroes we test. I also don't have her in a set for the 3-piece set. I don't want them in a set. I want them to just have basic stats. So here we go. This gets a little bit wishy-washy with this destructive spit, but we just barely do it in time. For phase 3, again, here you can see the hits popping. Dolores is no longer boosting. Okay. But then here she goes with her ultimate again, putting out some rapid fire hits. All right, and we're almost done here. I'm just making sure I keep him alive with Elowen, but I really don't even need to be using these stats here. And so just to be clear, Elowen and Vortex, neither one of them are in invigoration. So no invigoration, just simply testing with Dolores boosting, and that's it. Now, with like very similar testing, but a rage booster, 17,500. Well, more than that, million. 17 million. Sorry, I said 1,000. 17.5 though, mil. Compared to 13. That's how much of a difference that made with a rage booster. Now we're going to switch to Nocturne. Nocturne's going to get the tier of Twilight, level 10. He is going to get fully skilled. Boom, there he goes. And we're going to literally grab the exact set and put that on Nocturne. And you could see his stats. We're going to have very similar here because, well, the same gear, just affected by their base stats. So same crit rate, same crit damage, and then just differences based on their base attack and such. Low attack speed, nothing crazy. I didn't go crazy with the attack speed. I just kept it kind of neutral. And yeah, now we're going to bring in Nocturne. But this is without a rage booster. Keep that in mind. But we don't really need it. So my plan for Nocturne and Imani is just going to be simple enough. Obviously using them with Dolores as well. And a healer. But we're just going to pop their ultimates when the spit happens. So it's not... Obviously they're not going to go as often as our auto ultimates. But they end up being pretty close to the timings for... Like, as soon as Nocturne and Dolores are ready again, you kind of have the boss ready again as well. Like, I'm not sitting on Nocturne's ultimate for too long, except for in the beginning here for a little bit. But the hits from Nocturne are wonderful. Obviously, he's a great hero. You're seeing every little hit there is like 41,000. Nice big hits. 41, 41. Pretty consistent with our 100% crit rate. And boom, destructive spit. Let's smash Dolores ultimate, Nocturne ultimate. We'll get that shield off quickly, and then boom. 387,000, 387,000, almost 388,000. As you can see with those nice big numbers. That is the big hit from Nocturne. Obviously, it's a lot. Obviously, it is a lot. But he is a little bit slow to come back to his skills, and Imani is even slower. So keep that in mind too. So is there a special value in someone who's just going to pop automatically constantly? and more frequently, like Anai, maybe at times, maybe. Or do we really want to make sure we're perfectly timing everything for the sake of taking advantage of our Pyros and our Twin Fiend and our having the right debuffs up if you want their vulnerabilities at the same time and whatnot. So it's just it just depends on what we're doing and the type of comp and how you're playing it. And I guess this is, I want to let you guys make your own opinion on what you think of Anai after seeing these kind of comparisons. So Nocturne again, 41,000, whatever. I'm just going to pause and kind of skip toward the end of this though. And no reason to show everything it looks the same, but now we're at the end, you know, pop everything as soon as it happens, get everything as in as we can in phase 4. Dolores Nocturne. Oh, I kind of messed up here. I forgot to pop again. Few seconds left. I could have popped one more time. One more pop could have been in. That's about it, though. Not much difference, though. Only one more pop. But with that in mind, still 16,000. So maybe with that one more pop, it would have been about the same as Nocturne, or he would have maybe been a tiny bit more. But 16.3, sorry, million damage. And on to Imani. She's going to have the same thing, and we're going to use her first without any awakenings. No awakenings, but we're going to grab the same exact gear, give her the same shot, and I'm also going to do a run with her with awakenings because I feel like a fully awakened epic compared to 0 awakening legendary is a better comparison because it's pretty easy to max out a epic once you get rolling, especially this later in the content when you're pushing the higher levels, which you'd want to use her for. So this is going to be the test without a rage booster, and you're going to see why I needed to add a rage booster in the first place. Because first I did no rage booster Anai, no rage booster Nocturne, then no rage booster Imani, but Imani kind of needs it. So here she goes though. Look at her hits, 39,000, 46,000. Remember, Nocturne was doing like 41,000 with his basic hits, right? So that's already pretty impressive to see. I cannot believe the hits that Imani actually pumps out. She really impressed me. 39,000, yeah, compared to, you know, it's a mixture, but really, really nice to see some big hits. So we were going to wait for the spit here, but because... I don't want to spoil too much. Let's get through here. We're ready with Dolores. We're ready with Imani, right? Boom. Pop Dolores, pop Imani. That just like I did for Nocturne, I waited. So we're going to get through this okay, right? All right, we're through that. Now let's look at those hits. 308,000, 308,000, almost 309. So 309,000 damage from our little epic here. And she's not even awakened. She's not even awakened. That was pretty impressive, right? And then it goes down a lot lower, like 107,000 without Dolores's boost. But you're seeing the hits. They're not quite as big as Nocturne most of the time. But again, this is a 0 awakenings on an epic. So the problem was, once we got rolling, she doesn't come back to her skill as fast. So from one spit to another... Dolores is ready, right? Dolores is ready to go, but Imani's not. And here's the spit, and we're not ready with Imani. So I had to wait until almost, well, more than halfway through the destructive spit to even pop her ultimate, and we wipe. So I had to actually add in a rage booster, or I could have put more rage regen on her as well, but we really needed the rage boost, so that's what we did. So I went ahead and added Elowen to this run, and that's when I also did the run with Elowen and Anai after this, technically is when I did it. So Elowen is going to boost Imani so that she can actually come back to her ultimate a little bit faster. So let me pause and skip to that. We got through phase 1 and phase 2, on to phase 3. Here's the spit. We were able to time it. It stayed consistent for Dolores and Imani both being ready for the boss to smash it just the right time. Same big hits. Again, very consistent. And once the Dolores buff wears off, it's 187,000 that time. And now we're phase 4. So now it's just going to be hit as much as we can. Waiting for her ultimate though with the Dolores, I think. Yep, we pop her. And we're just gonna heal if we need to, but we really don't need to here too much, but we'll still heal anyway. Can't help myself, gotta randomly throw in the heals. But we're not having any sort of boosting again. There is no invigoration set on either of the healers. And a rage booster to make sure she can actually keep up her regen. So you don't need Elowen, obviously Hollow can do the job, but also, again, no awakenings on Imani, none, 0. So let's go ahead and change that now and see if with the awakenings, which are very relatable and easy to come by, especially as people start pushing content, and you could always use your Titan Stones if you were using someone of high value. But yeah, we can add these extra stats that are going to affect her damage. So we're going to go back into the battle, same thing, just with her awakenings as the only difference. Let's see how her damage output actually is. Setting up the same people, same boosting, same healing. Elowen's just gonna rage regen overall. So let's take a look. How are her hits? Now they're up, are they 50? 47, 51,000, 39,000, 84, 843, 43, 43. So there's her basic hits. Let's get up to the first spit, and then we'll kind of cut to the end. So here's our spit. We're going to pop with Dolores, pop with Imani for ultimates, and then let's see. Weekend State. 300. Oh, look at that. 325. But one of those hits was 405. But yeah, some of those 405,000 damage, more than the Nocturne hits. But the others were a little bit lower, of course, still. 325, which was better than the 309,000 from before her awakenings. And cut to the end of phase 4 here. We're just popping as we can. She is going to continue to do her nice damage. I'm really impressed by her random extra damage here. She's doing 112,000 with these hits. Now, without the boss being in a weakened state, pretty solid. Again, this is only Nightmare 2. But yeah, you guys let me know in the comments below. I don't think Anai is terrible. I think we just learned that Imani is better than expected, but I don't think Anai herself is bad. 15 mil from our epic that's awakened, 17 mil from probably Nocturne and Anai. Not so bad.